Good morning. The world of global politics is, once again, teetering on a knife's edge. A furious diplomatic firestorm has erupted right on America's doorstep, and the fallout is sending shockwaves across the globe. President Donald Trump, back in the White House, never one to shy away from a confrontation, has unleashed a torrent of outrage directed squarely at his northern neighbor, Canada. The reason? Ottawa's outright refusal to bow to a new set of aggressive American trade demands. This isn't just a minor disagreement over tariffs, this is a fundamental clash of wills, a high-stakes showdown that threatens to rewrite the very rules of North American commerce and diplomacy. The president is incandescent with rage, and his early morning tweets have made his displeasure abundantly clear to all. The situation has escalated with breathtaking speed. What began as a series of closed-door negotiations has now exploded into a very public and very bitter dispute. President Trump feels betrayed. He expected Canada, a long-standing ally, to simply fall in line with his America First agenda. So, what exactly has caused President Trump to become so violently enraged with his Canadian counterparts? The answer lies in a sweeping and non-negotiable set of demands he presented during the latest round of trade talks. The president's ultimatum was designed to fundamentally rebalance the economic relationship in America's favor. A simplified list of U.S. demands next to a Canadian flag with a large red X over it. First and foremost, he demanded that Canada dismantle its supply management system for dairy, poultry and eggs. This system, which has protected Canadian farmers for decades with quotas and high tariffs, has long been a source of irritation for American agricultural exporters. Trump sees it as an unfair barrier, and he wanted it gone, completely and immediately, to flood the Canadian market with U.S. products. But the demands did not stop with dairy and poultry. The president also insisted on major concessions in the automotive sector. He proposed a new rule that would require any vehicle sold in the United States to have a significantly higher percentage of its parts manufactured within American borders. This would have forced automakers with plants in Canada to either relocate their operations south of the border or face crippling tariffs that would make their vehicles uncompetitive. The move was a direct assault on the heart of Ontario's manufacturing industry, a sector deeply integrated with the American auto industry. It was a clear attempt to bring jobs back to the U.S. regardless of the economic devastation it would cause in Canada. Furthermore, the White House pushed for new restrictions on Canadian access to American government contracts. Faced with this aggressive ultimatum from the White House, Canada's response was as swift as it was resolute. There was no hesitation, no wavering. The Canadian government, after a series of emergency cabinet meetings, delivered a clear and unequivocal no to Washington's demands. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, speaking to the nation from Ottawa, declared that Canada would not be bullied into accepting a deal that undermined its core national interests. He stated plainly that while Canada values its relationship with the United States, it would not sacrifice its farmers, its auto workers, or its economic sovereignty on the altar of American political pressure. It was a moment of remarkable defiance. The Canadian negotiating team, which had been working tirelessly for weeks, was instructed to hold the line. They refused to even consider the dismantling of the dairy supply management system, arguing it was a cornerstone of rural stability and not up for negotiation. On the automotive front, they countered that the integrated North American supply chain benefits all three countries, and that tearing it apart would ultimately harm American workers as much as Canadian ones. They flatly rejected the proposed sunset clause, labeling it a poison pill designed to create perpetual instability and cripple long-term business investment. The message was consistent and firm across all fronts. Canada was ready to talk, but it would not capitulate. In the midst of this escalating crisis, a pivotal figure has stepped onto the stage. Not with the fiery rhetoric of a politician, but with the cool, calculated precision of a global financial heavyweight. That figure is Mark Carney, the former governor of the Bank of Canada, the former governor of the Bank of England. Carney has recently taken on a special advisory role to the Canadian government, tasked with navigating the treacherous waters of this new global economic landscape. He is not a man prone to dramatic gestures or public outbursts. He is known for his deep understanding of international finance and his calm, authoritative demeanour in a crisis. Carney's appointment was a masterstroke by the Canadian government. It sent a clear signal to the international community of seriousness and expertise. His reputation precedes him in London. His reputation precedes him in Tokyo, and his voice carries immense weight in circles of presidents and prime ministers. He's seen as a steady hand on the tiller, a man who understands the long-term game. His presence immediately calmed nerves in Canadian markets and gave international investors confidence beyond simply saying no to Trump. Mark Carney's grand strategy is both simple in its concept and audacious in its ambition. If the door to the south is becoming harder to open, then Canada must push with all its might on the doors to the east, on the doors to the west. This great pivot is a calculated response to the new reality of an unreliable American partner. Carney's first priority has been to breathe new life into Canada's existing trade agreements with Europe, with the Asia-Pacific Region Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership. CPTPP are now central pillars of Canada's economic survival and future prosperity. The turn towards Asia is particularly pronounced. Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, Singapore, he is spearheading a major diplomatic and commercial push trade, missions, investment roadshows, streamlining logistics and supply chains across the Pacific. The goal is to redirect Canadian exports away from the volatile US market canola beef advanced technology natural resources towards the stable, rapidly growing consumer markets of Asia. The dramatic standoff between Washington and Ottawa has elicited a wide range of reactions from around the globe, creating a complex chorus of divided opinions. From within the United States, the response has been predictably split along partisan lines. Supporters of President Trump have applauded his tough stance, viewing it as a necessary correction to a trade relationship they believe has long been unfair to American workers. A Republican senator from a dairy-producing state was quoted as saying, "It's about time a president stood up to Canada's protectionist nonsense." American farmers deserve a level playing field. These voices see Trump's actions as him simply fulfilling his promise to put America first, even if it means ruffling the feathers of a traditional ally. Conversely, many American business leaders and more moderate political figures have expressed deep concern. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce issued a statement warning that a trade war with Canada would be mutually destructive, disrupting supply chains and raising prices for American consumers. A Democratic congresswoman from a border state remarked, "Canada is not our enemy, they are our closest partner." This manufactured crisis threatens millions of jobs on both sides of the border. It's reckless and serves no one's long-term interests. These critics worry that the president's aggressive approach is alienating a crucial ally and undermining America's own economic stability for the sake of short-term political posturing. Within Canada, while there is broad support for the government's firm stand, there is also a palpable sense of anxiety about the future.
I'm proud that we're standing up for ourselves, but I'm also terrified.
My entire business is built on cross-border trade. If tariffs come, I don't know if we'll survive. The immediate impact of this bitter dispute is being felt in the tremors running through the global trade system. The very idea of a stable, predictable North American trading bloc, once the bedrock of the continental economy, has been shattered. This uncertainty is poison for business. Companies that rely on the seamless flow of goods and components across the US-Canada border are now scrambling to make contingency plans. The threat of sudden tariffs or new regulatory barriers has forced them to reconsider investment plans, pause hiring, explore costly and inefficient alternatives. The disruption is not just theoretical, it is causing real economic damage right now, even before any new tariffs have been formally imposed. This conflict is also accelerating a broader trend of global economic fragmentation. For years, the world was moving towards greater integration. Now it is breaking apart into competing blocs. The US-Canada rift is a powerful symbol of this deglobalization. Nations are increasingly forced to choose sides. Do they align with the unpredictable but powerful United States, or do they join coalitions of middle powers who are trying to preserve a rules-based system? Canada, Japan, EU. These are no longer abstract questions, they are urgent strategic decisions for governments worldwide. The dispute has also put a massive strain on traditional diplomatic alliances. The G7, a group of the world's leading industrialized democracies, is now deeply fractured. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization is also feeling the chill. It's difficult to maintain military solidarity when your closest economic partners are engaged in a bitter trade feud. The trust that has bound these Western allies together for over 70 years is eroding. So what happens next? The path forward for Canada is fraught with both peril and promise. In the short term, the country must brace for economic pain. A prolonged trade battle with its largest trading partner will inevitably lead to job losses, business closures, a period of painful adjustment. President Trump is unlikely to back down easily. His political brand is built on the image of a tough negotiator who never loses. Canada will need immense national resolve and political fortitude to weather the storm that is coming. There will be intense pressure from affected industries to capitulate. The government's unity will be tested like never before. However, beyond the immediate turmoil lies the potential for a transformative new beginning for Canada. This crisis has forced the nation to confront its over-reliance on the United States. That dependency has for decades bred a certain complacency. Mark Carney's strategic pivot, if successfully executed, could be the most significant shift in Canadian foreign and economic policy in a century, by forging stronger partnerships, by forging deeper partnerships, by forging more meaningful partnerships with the dynamic economies of Asia, with the established markets of Europe. Canada has the opportunity to redefine itself as a truly global nation, not just a northern appendage of the United States. This is a chance to build a more resilient and diversified economy. The world is watching. What Canada does next could provide a blueprint for how other nations can navigate the choppy waters of our new, uncertain age.